In a peaceful village surrounded by green hills, there lived a young man named John. He was intelligent, hardworking, and kind hearted, but there was one thing that made his life difficult. He could never let go of the past. He held on to painful memories, broken friendships, failures, and disappointments as if they were treasures he could not abandon. Years earlier, John had a very close friend named Mike. They spent most of their childhood together, shared dreams, and promised to support each other forever. But as they grew older, misunderstandings slowly created distance between them. One day, after a heated argument, Mike left the village without saying goodbye. John felt deeply hurt. Instead of moving on, he kept replaying the incident in his mind every single day. As time passed, John's anger and sadness became heavier. Although he smiled in front of others, his heart was filled with bitterness. He stopped trusting people and preferred staying alone. Whenever someone mentioned Mike's name, John became silent and upset. His parents often advised him to forget the past, but he believed that letting go meant losing a part of himself. One morning, while walking near the forest, John met an old gardener carrying a large sack of dry leaves. The gardener looked tired yet peaceful. Curious, John asked, "Why are you carrying all those dead leaves?" The old man smiled and replied, "These leaves once belonged to the trees, but the trees have let them go. That is why new leaves can grow." John did not fully understand the meaning of those words, but they stayed in his mind. A few days later, a terrible storm struck the village. Strong winds shook the trees violently. The next morning, John noticed something interesting. The trees that had released their dry leaves were still standing tall and strong. But some trees that held on to weak branches had broken during the storm. The sight made John thoughtful. He began to realize that nature itself survives by learning to let go. Trees let go of dead leaves, rivers let go of old water, and seasons let go of the past to welcome the future. That evening, John sat alone and reflected on his own life. He understood that he had been carrying emotional pain for years, just like a heavy burden on his shoulders. His anger toward Mike had not changed the past, it had only stolen his peace. For the first time, John decided to release the bitterness in his heart. He closed his eyes and whispered, "I cannot change what happened, but I can choose not to suffer from it anymore." The next few weeks were not easy. Sometimes old memories returned and sadness visited him again. But instead of holding on to them, he learned to accept them and let them pass. Slowly, his heart became lighter. He started spending more time with family, helping neighbors, and enjoying simple moments in life again. One afternoon, while working in the market, John saw a familiar face in the crowd. It was Mike. He looked older and nervous, as if he was unsure whether to approach him. For a moment, John felt the old pain returning. But then he remembered the trees and the gardener's words. Mike walked closer and quietly said, "I know I hurt you. I have regretted it for years." There was silence between them. Then John gave a calm smile and replied, "The past cannot be changed, but we can still choose peace." As the sun began to set, John felt a happiness he had not experienced in years. He finally understood that life moves forward, not backward. Holding on to pain only prevents growth, while letting go creates space for healing, peace, and new beginnings. From that day onward, whenever someone asked John the secret of his calm nature, he would simply say, some things in life are too heavy to carry forever. Learn to let go, and your heart will become free. Letting go does not mean forgetting the past, it means accepting it, learning from it, and choosing peace over pain.